Good morning. I am back on my YouTube grind. I just got inspired to have a chat about. I've been wanting to revisit dating. You should check out my dating videos. They're a bit lengthy. I think I'm gonna kind of dumb it down, or not dumb it down, but I presented a lot in one video about dating, and I think I need to kind of really expand on like each topic. So I think I'm gonna go back into my dating series because I see in this day and age that it is really um, a common issue with people when it comes to dating uh, in this current age. But I felt, you know, compelled to talk about your expectations in dating. I think, first of all, you need to know what you want and be honest about what you want. Sometimes what we think we want um, is not really what we need at the time. So be completely honest if what you want and what you need are two different things. Really have a self talk with yourself, I feel, before you date. Because if you're confused, you're gonna attract that energy. So start there. Because I will say, when I started dating after my divorce, I thought that I wanted or that I needed a more serious, stable relationship. And honestly, what I needed at that time was to be able to experiment and not necessarily be in something serious, because I was still in a place of trying to figure out really what I truly wanted in life and who I really was, because I completely was starting from scratch. So it would be really hard to build a foundation with somebody when I don't even really have a strong foundation within myself. So what happened was, I attracted similar, confusable energy, and honestly that's what I needed. So when you start to notice that you have a pattern and you're dating people with certain attributes, and you don't really like that, you may need to look back at yourself. Because I'm a firm believer in you are what you attract. Okay, so let's start there. But again, being honest, because I think that we need to really check our expectations when we're dating. You cannot expect for that person to be the one. Let's not do that. I think from the beginning, you should be curious, and just getting to know who that person is, beyond your expectations. And trying to see if there's a potential for friendship there, if that's what you're looking for. Specifically, if you're looking for deep connections with somebody, the potential to have a long-term partnership with somebody, before you expect them to be your partner, because they may not be. Because I think once we expect for people to be our partner, we ignore red flags. We, sweep things under the rug just to make them fit in that category. So I think you need to take the expectations off of the table and just solely focus on what they are showing you, who they are, and are you guys vibing? Do you guys have similar morals, values, lifestyle, etc.? And are you guys connecting? Could you guys be friends? you know so I feel we have these high expectations, and it gets us in a lot of trouble. Sometimes it even keeps us from it makes us sabotage something that could be for us. But we're too caught up on superficial things like this checklist, right? I started to get away from the checklist, because it really wasn't helping me. I think for me, I started to focus on, could we be friends? And could they fit in my lifestyle? Will we have similar lifestyles? Um, do we have similar beliefs, and morals and values? That was it. That was it. Um, and once I simplified that for myself, it just made it easier, to connect with people because I didn't have this long checklist that I was, you know, reading from, and I was a bit more open. And I think when I took my expectations off of the map, I got to see who that person was. Um, and because I didn't have these set up expectations, I was able to release someone much gentler, right? Because I wasn't already expecting for them to be the one. So it wasn't hard to, release and say, hey, this isn't the right situation for me. Um, so it just makes the whole process easier because dating, to be quite honest, and this is why people have a hard time with dating, is that most of the time, when you're out dating, you're not going to meet the love of your life usually, within the first couple dates. It's a journey, and, and that disappointment, and sometimes even the rejection, because you'll receive some rejection, can be a big blow to the ego, and it makes it tough. It makes it really tough. But when you hang in there, you regroup, you realize it's a part of the process. But I think, we really truly have to check our expectations. The only thing we should expect, or the only thing, we really deserve from someone, is respect. But even then, they don't have to do that. Okay. So you just keep your eyes and ears open, when you don't have all these things, preconceived notions, it's easy to see clearer. That's the whole point. It's easy to see clearer what's going on when you don't have all these things already built up in your mind, and you get to experience the what's happening authentically, you know. But again, the best place to start is to know exactly what the hell you want. Of course, the best place to start is feeling whole within yourself, so you won't be desperate in the first place to fill a void. But that's another video. But I just wanted to talk about expectations because I was listening to one of my favorite YouTubers today. I feel like she's going through this rebirth, which I think a lot of women start to go through in their mid 30s. Because I think they really start to realize that they weren't really living for themselves, and are trying to really get who they really are and figure out their identity. And it goes through so many stages. So she's going through a stage where, she just doesn't want to have time for the bullshit. And I get it. You have to go through that stage. But I think once you feel content within yourself, you're not defensive. Put it that way. When you're still not sure about who you are, still trying to get a good foundation with yourself, you could be on the bit of the defense because you're trying to protect yourself, right? But once you're feeling good, you good. You got this. You trust yourself, right? So you're not as defensive because you trust yourself to make the right decisions. But again, it's a journey. It's a journey, and I think I've said enough. But yeah, dating is fun. It can be very fun when we just trust ourselves, really get to know the person for face value without any expectations. Because as you talk and you guys have genuine conversations, you'll see if they're really compatible with you, and you'll see if there's really a genuine connection. And for me, the connection is based off of chemistry. Sometimes you can have the compatibility. And for me, compatibility, like I said, is having similar morals, values, lifestyle, things, and with lifestyle, to me, that means even what kind of relationships you want. Some people want to get married. Some people don't. Some people want to have polyamorous relationships, whatever. I don't judge. But y'all have to have similar lifestyles, for the shit to work. And that is compatibility. But the connection part is, pure chemistry. And that's something that you can't create and you don't know until y'all start conversing. But again, it's easier to do when you're just open, and you're just wanting to experience, and see what happens. So I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm gonna cut it short. What are your thoughts about expectations, when you're dating? How do you feel about that? I think a lot of people have expectations. Do you agree with me that you shouldn't expect someone to be whatever? Take those off the table first and just experience. Or do you disagree with that? I would love to know. I would love to chat about that. Have some discussion. So let me know. Hit me up. All right. Bye.